Merry Christmas, YouTube. This is Necrostevo, and you're watching my something or another battle. I was going to do a Christmas special, but that kind of fell through. But the whole point of this battle was kind of to do something more nostalgia based because at Christmas you get around your family and you guys kind of reminisce on old times or you fight like you always do every Christmas. I don't know. Well, this is an Ash versus Gary match that I had with AshFanGirlLisa, one of my Twitter followers. This was a pretty interesting match. I got to use, I was, of course, Gary, and she was using an Ash team. She starts off with Butterfree, and I started off with Electivire just because out of the Pokemon on Gary's team, I liked Electivire the most as far as a lead. And expecting her just to have a Focus Ash and put something to sleep, I just stayed in and went for the Expert Belted Ice Punch. That's going to bring it down to the Sass naturally, and then my Electivire is going to go to sleep. So not too much out of that first turn there. Unfortunately for her, I get the freeze, which is perfect because it's winter and it's cold outside. So she's frozen, but I didn't really want the Ash versus Gary battle to start off like that right there. So I'm going to spend a few turns swapping around, waiting for her to thaw out so that she can put something to sleep. But in the meantime, I was wondering if you all had any interesting Christmas anecdotes, because I don't know about you guys, but or as far as your childhoods, but when I was a kid, I believed in Santa up until I think one night I heard my parents putting stuff underneath the tree, and I was relatively young, so that illusion for me was broken pretty early. And you may say I was robbed of a childhood, but I like to think that I was enlightened as a child, as the fact that I could go to, um, younger or early grade school and talk to the other kids and be like, "Oh, you believe in Santa? Psh, you don't know anything." But anyways, if you all had any interesting things like that when you were kids, I'd be interested to hear those as well. There's a lot of switching out here because that Butterfree stays frozen for a long time. I'm talking 5 to 6 turns. He finally thaws out, puts my Nidoqueen Panza to sleep, and I really like this Gary team because it allowed me to run Nidoking and Nidoqueen on the same team, which is really fun. I would never really do that in an actual competitive team because those are literally the exact same set of weaknesses, although they serve different purposes. Now she makes an interesting play and starts going for quiver dances. I had no entry hazards up. If I were her, I probably would have switched out and saved Butterfree for later on, maybe fodder or something like that. Because most Butterfree run both dual powders, so Sleep Powder, Stun Spore, maybe Bug Buzz, and maybe one other move. And since she has Quiver Dance, I'm assuming her last move is Bug Buzz, which is not going to be very effective against my physically defensive Nidoqueen. And this is a +2 Bug Buzz coming from Butterfree, and that doesn't even do half, so it may have been a better use of a Butterfree to switch out. But, I made up for that freeze hacks by at least letting her get in some damage on something right there. I don't know. Some people might make the case that that was a waste of time, but I didn't want the sour taste of that at the beginning of the battle. And what are rivals for, right? For having epic battles. Anyways, though, she goes out into her Lapras, which Ash used a lot to travel all around the Orange Island series, which I really enjoyed that set of battles where the gym leader, well, not the gym leaders, but the leaders in that area had different challenges. And she surprises me by going for the Dragon Dance. And I knew that Lapras could have Dragon Dance, but I figured since she brought it in on Nidoqueen, she was just going to attack. Super effective ice or water type attack would have done a decent amount of damage. And then she surprises me again, since now she used the Dragon Dance, I thought she would be physical, and she goes for Thunderbolt. So she has Dragon Dance, probably Waterfall, maybe Ice Shard, maybe Avalanche, and she also has Thunderbolt. So that is extremely interesting because she managed to zap my Blastoise, and then here, me expecting her to just go for a Thunderbolt one more time, I'm going to switch out to Electivire, hopefully get the Motor Drive boost. As you know, Motor Drive raises your speed by one stage when you get hit by an electric attack. But she predicts that and goes for another Dragon Dance, so I'm getting a little bit outplayed by this Lapras, which is a little bit unfortunate. Interestingly enough, though, Lapras's offensive stats are not actually that great. So I'm hoping, even though I'm probably going to get obliterated by a water type attack, I'm hoping that I'll live because Electivire actually has okay defenses. They aren't great, but paired that with Lapras's mediocre offensive stats, and I'm praying that I live, and I live with 3 HP, which allows Electivire to go charging crazily into that murky water that Lapras is probably gonna. I don't know. In this animation, he seems to be sitting on land, but if he's on land, he's not nearly as fast. But it's gonna be a double down. Those are the best types of downs. Merry Christmas, Steven, because you just got to double down for Christmas. And I don't mean the KFC thing. That was weird. I never did get to try one of those. It was one of those things where it was I kind of want to try that, but at the same time, it's why would I ever put that in my body? But anyways, on the double down, she goes out into Venusaur, my personal favorite Pokemon, and I go down into my Nidoqueen expecting just to kind of tank whatever she hits. Which is funny that I say tank because a Panzer is a type of tank, and then A is the feminine for when you have Spanish words, so Panza, which is like the female. Anyways, she goes for Light Screen, which means my Ice Beams aren't going to do anything, which is funny because they didn't do anything before the Light Screen, really. And that's just the special prowess of Venusaur. Expecting her maybe to go for a Grass Moon, knowing that she can't, that I can't be damaged, or maybe even Leech Seed. I just go out to Arcanine hoping that she doesn't set up the other screen because this is a choice banded physical Arcanine. She does go for Leech Seed and it misses, but outside of getting a little bit of residual damage on Arcanine, a choice banded Flare Blitz is going to kill Venusaur unless it's physically bulky. I have a Venusaur that's mixed stats, and if you guys go check out Fox McCloud's videos, he had a physically oriented Shaman use a Psychic Gem boosted Zen Headbutt, and it didn't knock out my mixed defenses Venusaur. So Venusaur can take a hit on either side of the spectrum, which is really, really nice. And that's another reason he's one of my favorites. I think she predicted here that I am locked into the fire attack, so she went out to Charizard, which was a good idea. I switched into Blastoise, expecting her maybe to expect to switch to something else to resist the fire type attack. But she just goes for the safe neutral Air Slash, which is still stab, so good solid damage. I was hoping I could live a second one, and maybe hit her with a Hydro Pump. Unfortunately, just like the anime, Charizard beats Blastoise, and that was the most ridiculous fight in the anime, because I there's really very little to say about it. Like Blastoise was completely walling every move possible just by using Rapid Spin. It was really weird. That move was really godlike in the anime. She does miss the Will-O-Wisp, which didn't really matter because Nidoking is special. It would have done a little bit of residual damage, but I still would have knocked her out with a Thunderbolt. So now that I am looking back at this battle, she had a lot of hacks against her, but some of the hacks didn't matter as much, so it kind of played out either way. She brings out Heracross here, and I was actually expecting her to be Scarfed, or maybe even Banded or something like that, and I didn't really know what she wanted to do, but I did know that I don't have Flamethrower on Nidoking. So I switched out as she goes for Swords Dance, and I was a little bit worried about that because Heracross can hit very, very hard, and a Swords Dance stab Mega Horn does hit super hard. I do resist it, but that did more damage than some of the hits she had earlier. So that was a little bit scary. I just wanted to get in, stay in here, get some damage on it, and then if I needed to go out to maybe Arcanine and Choice Band Extreme Speed Revenge Kill it, I could do that. Or even just go out to anything else that would be able to handle those Mega Horns. Because if my physical wall can't handle the Mega Horns, I don't really want anything else getting hit by them. So I do go out into my Scizor, who will resist the Mega Horn, and then even though she has a Swords Dance boost, the other types of attacks that it has will be neutral damage. And this is more of a physically bulky Scizor with max attack, so that helps out. Fortunately, a Choice Banded Bullet Punch is going to be able to knock her right out of there. And Scizor, I think, is the #1 most overused Pokemon right now. It's on about 29% of teams from those usage statistics that I saw on Smogon, which is really interesting. Scizor is very useful, and Gary Oak chooses useful Pokemon. So she goes for Thunderbolt. I no longer have my Electivire, so I do go into Nidoking just to resist it. She gets a critical hit on this Grass Knot, which is interesting because Nidoking is not actually that heavy. And that still does a pretty good chunk with the crit. I stay in, go for the Earth Power, which is going to easily knock out Pikachu. I don't actually have a Light Ball to be used with my Pikachu. I don't know if she had a Light Ball on hers or not. But I really enjoyed that match, Lisa. You played pretty well, and I hope we have more matches in the future. So I hope you guys did enjoy the match. If you did, be sure to look out for some more content. If you all are interested, I was actually thinking of putting up some videos of kind of a how-to as far as training and EV training and things like that go, as far as me actually doing all that stuff in game. I don't know if people are interested in seeing that or not. But if you all are, let me know. And be sure to leave those Christmas memories or things that you guys do. I am interested to read those. And as you all know, I always respond to comments when they're on the videos. So I hope you all have a great Christmas, and I will see you all in a few days. Goodbye now.